Hey coin lovers! Welcome to the Worth Old Coins channel, your place to discover the hidden value and rare facts about old coins. In today's video we're revealing the top 5 valuable coins, and one of them might just be in your collection. So don't skip this video, let's find out their real worth. Top 1. The France 10 centimes coin of 1997 is a fascinating piece of modern French numismatic history, representing the final years of the French franc before the full adoption of the euro. Issued under the Fifth Republic, this coin was part of the long-running decimal franc system introduced in 1960, and it circulated widely until the euro was introduced in 1999, accounting currency, and 2002, physical coins and notes. The 1997 10 centimes coin was struck at a time when France was undergoing major political, social, and economic transitions within the broader European Union, making it both an everyday coin of commerce and a piece of history tied to a disappearing monetary system. By 1997, the coin had already been a familiar sight for nearly 4 decades, and its design symbolized continuity, republican values, and the cultural heritage of France. The physical characteristics of the 1997 France 10 centimes coin are consistent with its modern decimal issues. It is a small, light coin with a diameter of 19.5 millimeters, a weight of 3 grams, and a reeded edge. Its composition is aluminum bronze, an alloy of copper, aluminum, and a small portion of nickel, giving it a distinctive golden color that made it easily recognizable in circulation. The choice of aluminum bronze made the coin both durable and lightweight, suitable for high-volume transactions, as 10 centimes was a relatively small denomination in purchasing power by the 1990s. The obverse design, created by the renowned French engraver Henri Lagrefoule, features the allegorical figure of Marianne, a personification of the French Republic. Marianne is portrayed in profile facing left, wearing a Phrygian cap, a symbol of liberty and the French Revolution since the late 18th century. Above her head is the inscription République Française, French Republic, signifying the authority of the state and its democratic ideals. Marianne's calm and determined features embody both liberty and reason, values deeply embedded in French political philosophy. The artistic style is simple yet elegant, reflecting mid-20th century design principles while connecting to France's revolutionary past. The reverse design, also by Henri Lagrefoule, is equally significant. At its center is the large denomination figure 10, accompanied by the word centimes beneath. Around the denomination runs the national motto of France: Liberté, Galet, Fraternité, liberty, equality, fraternity. These 3 words, born out of the French Revolution, remain central to the French identity and political system, making their presence on the coin an enduring reminder of the country's values. The reverse also features natural motifs, including wheat ears, oak leaves, and olive branches, symbolizing agriculture, strength, and peace. At the bottom appears the year of issue, 1997, along with a small mint mark symbol from the Paris Mint, Monnaie de Paris. Where the coin was struck, and in terms of mintage and circulation, the 1997 10 centimes had a substantial output, as it was still widely needed in commerce during the late 1990s. By this time, however, inflation had reduced the coin's real purchasing power. 10 centimes were worth only a fraction of what they had been in the 1960s. It was mostly used in giving change for small purchases, vending machines, or public telephones. Millions of these coins were produced, making them common in circulation, and many survive today in worn condition. Historically, the 1997 issue belongs to the final generation of French franc coins before the transition to the euro. Although minted in vast quantities, these coins disappeared rapidly after 2002 when the euro became the sole legal tender. Many were withdrawn, melted down, or simply forgotten in drawers and jars across France. Because of this, circulated examples are very common and typically worth only their bullion or token collector value. However, high-grade examples in uncirculated or proof-like condition are much scarcer and are of greater interest to numismatists, especially for those building typesets of late French franc coinage. The cultural significance of the 10 centimes coin extends beyond its monetary role. By featuring Marianne, it reinforced the image of the Republic in everyday life, a reminder of the values of liberty and democracy. The natural motifs of wheat, oak, and olive further highlighted France's identity as both an agricultural and industrial nation, while also pointing toward its long-standing desire for peace and resilience. The fact that the coin remained visually unchanged for decades also made it a powerful symbol of stability during periods of social change, including France's deepening integration into the European Union. And conclusion, the France 10 centimes 1997 coin represents the twilight years of the franc, a currency that had served the nation for centuries. With its elegant design by Henri Lagrefoule, durable composition, and strong republican symbolism, It was both a workhorse of commerce and a token of national identity. While monetarily small, the coin carried profound cultural and historical weight, reminding citizens daily of their shared values. Today, it serves as a collectible link to a bygone monetary era, evoking nostalgia for the franc while marking the path toward the euro, which would soon redefine Europe's financial landscape. Top 2. The France 10 centimes 1963 coin is a remarkable and historically important piece of French numismatics, issued during the early years of the Fifth Republic and under the presidency of Charles de Gaulle, at a time when France was stabilizing its economy after the Second World War and the turbulent Fourth Republic. The coin belongs to the reformed new franc system, which was introduced in 1960 to counter post-war inflation and to simplify France's currency structure. In this reform, 100 old francs became equal to 1 new franc, and the 10 centimes coin became the smallest regular-use denomination struck in the new series. The 1963 issue represents the second phase of this new decimal currency and holds great importance because it solidified the public's confidence in the new money system. It circulated widely in everyday life and became one of the most familiar coins in France throughout the 1960s. The physical characteristics of the 1963 10 centimes coin are typical of this era. It was struck in an aluminum-bronze alloy, 92% copper, 6% aluminum, 2% nickel, giving it a warm golden color and light weight, which made it easy to distinguish from other denominations. The coin measured 19.5 millimeters in diameter, weighed 3 grams, and had a reeded edge, a common security feature meant to prevent clipping or tampering. Its lightweight nature made it convenient for daily transactions, especially since 10 centimes in 1963 still held meaningful purchasing power, unlike in the later decades when inflation reduced its value. The obverse design, by renowned engraver Henri Lagrefouille, features the allegorical female figure Marianne, who has been a central personification of the French Republic since the Revolution of 1789. Marianne is shown in profile, facing left, wearing the Phrygian cap of liberty, which symbolizes freedom, enlightenment, and revolutionary ideals. Above her head is inscribed République Française, French Republic, affirming the authority and identity of the state. Marianne's features are both serene and determined, representing the strength and dignity of the Republic during a period of national rebuilding and modernization. The style of the portrait reflects mid-20th century simplicity while still connecting to classical French revolutionary imagery. The reverse design also carries deep symbolic meaning. At the center is the large denomination numeral 10, beneath which appears the word centimes. Surrounding the denomination is the national motto of France, Liberté, Galet, Fraternité, liberty, equality, fraternity. These words, originating from the French Revolution, have become a permanent ideological anchor of French identity and politics. Around the edge of the coin are wheat ears, olive branches, and oak leaves, each symbolizing important aspects of French culture and values. Wheat for agriculture and fertility, oak for strength and endurance, and olive for peace. At the bottom of the reverse, the year of issue 1963 is inscribed, accompanied by mint marks from the Paris Mint, Monnaie de Paris, which produced these coins in very large numbers for circulation. In terms of mintage and circulation, the 1963 10 centimes was struck in the tens of millions, reflecting its vital role in daily transactions. It was a workhorse of the French economy, frequently used in buying newspapers, bread, and other small goods. At that time, 10 centimes still had a significant role in pricing, unlike in the 1990s when inflation made the coin nearly obsolete because of its massive mintage. Circulated examples are extremely common, but high-grade uncirculated pieces and proof strikes are more desirable to collectors today. Historically, the 1963 issue reflects the consolidation of France's new currency system and the broader modernization policies of Charles de Gaulle's government. The revaluation of the franc in 1960 had initially caused confusion, but by 1963 the new franc was firmly established, and coins such as the 10 centimes played an important part in building public trust in the stability of the economy. This was also the period when France was reasserting its political independence within Europe and the world, and the daily use of coins decorated with Marianne and the national motto reinforced a sense of national pride and identity. From a numismatic perspective, the 1963 France 10 centimes coin is not particularly rare, but it holds strong historical and symbolic value. It is prized by collectors as one of the earlier issues of the new franc series, marking the beginning of modern French currency that lasted until the euro's introduction in 2002. While circulated examples are plentiful and usually inexpensive, coins in pristine uncirculated or proof condition can command more value, especially when graded and preserved. In conclusion, the France 10 centimes 1963 coin is more than just a small denomination piece of currency. It represents a nation in transition. Recovering from past turmoil and moving toward stability and modernization under the Fifth Republic, its imagery of Marianne, the Phrygian cap, and the national motto tied everyday economic activity to centuries of Republican ideals and revolutionary heritage. Today, it stands as both a reminder of the early years of the new franc and a collectible token of France's enduring values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Top 3. The France 20 centimes 1996 coin is a fascinating example of late 20th century French coinage, issued during the final years of the French franc currency system before the introduction of the euro in 2002. By 1996, the franc had been France's official currency for nearly 200 years, and the 20 centimes piece represented a small but important denomination in daily circulation. It formed part of the new franc series introduced in 1960, which replaced the old franc at a rate of 100:1 in order to simplify the monetary system and stabilize post-war inflation. The 20 centimes coin was designed to provide a convenient small change option between the 10 centimes and 50 centimes pieces, widely used in daily commerce for buying small goods, public transport tickets, vending machines, and café purchases. Although by the 1990s inflation had eroded its purchasing power, the 20 centimes coin remained a workhorse of the French economy, easily recognizable with its golden color and Republican imagery, and it played a role in shaping the identity of modern French money right up to the euro era. The physical characteristics of the 1996 France 20 centimes coin reflect its practical function and French coinage traditions. Struck in an aluminum-bronze alloy, 92% copper, 6% aluminum, 2% nickel, the coin has a distinctive golden hue and a lightweight yet durable composition. It has a diameter of 23 millimeters, a weight of 4 grams, and a reeded edge that served as a tactile and anti-counterfeiting measure. This made it larger and heavier than the 10 centimes, but still smaller than the 50 centimes and 1 franc coins, allowing easy recognition by touch and sight. Its warm golden color also distinguished it clearly from the silver-colored franc coins made of cupronickel. The obverse design was created by the famous French engraver Henri Lagreffoul and features the profile of Marianne, the eternal national symbol of the French Republic. Marianne wears the Phrygian cap of liberty, a classical revolutionary emblem dating back to the French Revolution of 1789, symbolizing freedom, democracy, and the people's sovereignty. The inscription, République Française, encircles her portrait, affirming the authority of the state. The representation of Marianne in this series is elegant and neoclassical, echoing earlier allegories of liberty but adapted to modern French aesthetics. By 1996, this image had already been used for decades and was deeply familiar to French citizens, reinforcing the continuity of Republican values in everyday economic life. The reverse design emphasizes France's national ideals, and natural symbols at the center is the denomination 20 centimes, with the date of issue 1996 placed below. Surrounding the denomination is the French motto Liberté, Galet, Fraternité, Liberty, Equality, Fraternity, a powerful revolutionary slogan that had become enshrined in French culture and politics as the guiding principles of the Republic. Decorative motifs of wheat ears, olive branches, and oak leaves encircle the central text. Each of these has symbolic meaning. Wheat represents agriculture and prosperity, olive represents peace, and oak represents strength, stability, and endurance. These motifs tied the coin not just to the economy but also to France's cultural heritage and values. On the reverse, small mint marks from the Monnaie de Paris, Paris Mint, identify the specific workshop and engraver responsible for striking the coin. From a historical perspective, the 1996 20 centimes coin comes from a very interesting transitional period. France, as a founding member of the European Union, had already signed the Maastricht Treaty in 1992, which set the stage for the adoption of the euro. By the mid-1990s, preparations were already underway for the shift to a single European currency, and coins like the 20 centimes were among the last national coins produced before the euro replaced the franc in 2002. Thus, although minted in large numbers for circulation, the 1996 issue belongs to the final generation of purely French centimes. In terms of mintage and circulation, millions of 20 centimes coins were struck in 1996, making them very common in everyday use. They were widely distributed and heavily used in vending machines, metro ticket kiosks, and cafés, which made them one of the most handled small coins of the 1990s. However, their purchasing power had diminished over time. While in the 1960s a 20 centimes coin could buy small but tangible goods, by the 1990s it represented only a fraction of a franc and was often used as a supplementary coin in change rather than as a primary unit of exchange. Still, the coin carried symbolic weight because of its imagery, tying ordinary transactions to the Republic's ideals. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1996 20 centimes coin is not rare, as it was struck in large quantities. Circulated examples are common and inexpensive, often sold in bulk by collectors. However, coins preserved in uncirculated or proof condition are much more desirable, especially those with sharp detail and original mint luster. Collectors today value them as part of the complete set of modern French decimal coins, and they hold special interest as one of the final issues before the introduction of the euro. In conclusion, the France 20 centimes 1996 coin is an emblematic piece of French history that combines practical monetary use with rich national symbolism. Its design featuring Marianne, the Phrygian cap, and the revolutionary motto connects it to centuries of French republican ideals, while its agricultural and natural motifs tie it to the land and heritage of the French people. Though modest in denomination, it played a vital role in the everyday life of millions of French citizens during the 1990s and serves today as a collectible reminder of the last years of the franc before France transitioned to the euro. It is a coin that embodies continuity, tradition, and transition, capturing the spirit of a France standing at the crossroads of national identity and European integration. Top 4. The France 20 centimes 1970 coin is an important example of modern French decimal coinage, issued during the period of the new franc system that had been introduced in 1960 by President Charles de Gaulle and Finance Minister Antoine Pinay to simplify and stabilize the French currency. By 1970, France was experiencing rapid social and economic modernization, having emerged from the turbulent events of May 1968, and its currency was a symbol of both tradition and progress. The 20 centimes denomination, though modest, was widely used in everyday commerce, buying small goods in shops, newspapers, metro tickets, or snacks at a cafe, and it reflected the balance between practical circulation needs and the expression of French republican values. This 1970 issue belongs to the third decade of the new franc coins, and it carries forward the iconic imagery that had become familiar to millions of French citizens since 1960. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1970 France 20 centimes coin was struck in an aluminum-bronze alloy consisting primarily of copper, with small percentages of aluminum and nickel. This gave the coin its characteristic warm golden color, setting it apart visually from the silver-toned cupronickel francs and smaller bronze centimes. The coin has a diameter of 23 millimeters, a weight of 4 grams, and a reeded edge, which not only made it easy to identify by touch but also served as a deterrent against coin clipping and counterfeiting. Its size placed it conveniently between the smaller 10 centimes and the larger 50 centimes, allowing users to distinguish denominations quickly during everyday transactions. The obverse design was created by the French engraver Henri Lagraffoul and features the classical head of Marianne, the eternal symbol of the French Republic. Marianne wears the Phrygian cap of liberty, which has its roots in Roman times and became an emblem of revolution and freedom during the French Revolution of 1789. On the coin, Marianne is portrayed in an elegant, neoclassical style that reflects both tradition and modernity, embodying the spirit of republican democracy, civic pride, and national identity. Surrounding the portrait is the inscription, République Française, affirming the authority of the Republic over its currency. By 1970, this design was already deeply familiar, having become a staple of French pocket change since the introduction of the new franc. The reverse design emphasizes both economic symbolism and national ideals. The denomination, 20 centimes, is prominently displayed in the center, with the date of issue, 1970, positioned below. Encircling the denomination is the powerful French motto, Liberté, Galet, Fraternité, liberty, equality, fraternity, the rallying cry of the revolution that had been permanently adopted as the guiding slogan of the Republic. The decoration consists of agricultural and natural motifs: wheat, olive branches, and oak leaves, each representing a vital aspect of French life. Wheat symbolizes prosperity and the agricultural foundation of the nation, olives stand for peace, and oak leaves represent strength, endurance, and civic virtue. These motifs reinforce the coin's identity as not just a monetary tool, but also a medium of national symbolism. The reverse also includes tiny mint marks from the Monnaie de Paris, Paris Mint, indicating the minting authority and engraver's mark. Historically, the 1970 issue came at a moment of transition in French society. The late 1960s had been marked by social unrest, but by 1970 the economy was entering a period of modernization and expansion, often referred to as the 30 Glorieuses, 30 glorious years, of post-war growth. Currency reform had already stabilized the franc, and coins like the 20 centimes played a vital role in daily exchanges, embodying the renewed strength of the French economy. The modest denomination was practical for small purchases, though its purchasing power was slowly being eroded by inflation. By 1970, it bought less than it had in 1960, but was still essential for everyday life. In terms of mintage and circulation, the 1970 20 centimes coin was struck in large numbers, as it was a staple denomination in circulation. It would have been found in the pockets of nearly every French citizen, from children buying sweets to commuters paying for transportation. This widespread use ensured that the coin became part of daily life, contributing to its symbolic weight. Unlike higher denominations that were sometimes hoarded or saved, the 20 centimes circulated heavily and thus wore quickly, making well-preserved examples more appealing to collectors today. From a numismatic perspective, the 1970 20 centimes coin is generally considered common, with circulated examples carrying only modest collector value. However, specimens preserved in uncirculated or proof condition are sought after by collectors, especially those building complete year-by-year sets of French decimal coinage. Its appeal lies less in rarity and more in its historical and cultural significance as part of the enduring Marianne coinage series. For modern collectors, it represents a snapshot of France's economic and political identity in the early 1970s. In conclusion, the France 20 centimes 1970 coin is much more than a small piece of currency. It is a miniature canvas of French republican values and national heritage. Through Marianne, the Phrygian cap, and the revolutionary motto, it reaffirms the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity that define the Republic. Through agricultural symbols like wheat, olive, and oak, it reflects the strength, peace, and prosperity of the French nation. Although modest in denomination, it carried great symbolic weight, serving as a daily reminder of France's history, values, and resilience. Today, it stands as a collectible piece of modern French numismatic history, bridging the years between the post-war reforms and the eventual transition to the euro 3 decades later. Top 5. The France 20 centimes 2000 coin is one of the last issues of the French franc-era minor denominations before the nation transitioned to the euro in 2002, marking the end of more than a century and a half of the franc's existence as the legal tender of France. The 20 centimes denomination had been an essential part of the French currency system since the 19th century, but by the year 2000 its role was more symbolic than economically powerful, as inflation and changing consumer habits had greatly reduced its purchasing power. Still, this coin represented both continuity and heritage. It carried forward the classical imagery of Marianne and the republican ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity, while simultaneously acting as a farewell to a monetary tradition soon to be replaced by the euro. For collectors and historians, the 2000 issue of the 20 centimes coin encapsulates not only the artistry and symbolism of French numismatics but also the nation's social and economic climate on the eve of the new millennium and a profound financial transition. The physical specifications of the 20 centimes coin from 2000 followed the long-established standards of its series. It was struck in aluminum bronze, an alloy primarily of copper with small amounts of aluminum and nickel, giving it a golden hue distinct from both the silver-colored larger franc denominations and the darker bronze tones of the smallest centimes. The coin weighed approximately 4 grams, measured 23 millimeters in diameter, and had a reeded edge, designed both for tactile recognition and to protect against tampering or clipping. By the late 20th century, these specifications had become familiar and standardized, ensuring consistency across French pocket change. The obverse design was the enduring image of Marianne, the national symbol of the French Republic, personifying liberty and civic virtue. Engraved in a neoclassical style by Henri Lagreffoul, Marianne wears the Phrygian cap, a revolutionary emblem tracing back to ancient Rome and firmly embedded in the iconography of the French Revolution of 1789. By 2000, this design had been in use for 4 decades and was recognized by generations of French citizens, making the coin feel both traditional and timeless. The inscription République Française encircles her image, reaffirming the Republic's sovereignty and the authority of the French state over its currency. On the reverse side, the design carried the denomination 20 centimes prominently in the center, with the date 2000 engraved below, anchoring the coin in its historical context at the turn of the millennium. Surrounding the denomination is the powerful revolutionary motto, Liberté, Galet Fraternit, liberty, equality, fraternity, the cornerstone values of French national identity. The decorative motifs consist of wheat, olive branches, and oak leaves, combining symbols of agriculture, peace, and strength. These natural emblems reflected France's connection to its land, its aspirations for prosperity and harmony, and its enduring resilience as a republic. The reverse also bore the traditional mint marks of the Monnaie de Paris, Paris Mint, which by 2000 had over 1,000 years of history producing French coinage. Historically, the 2020 centimes coin was minted during the final years of the franc, as France was preparing for the launch of the euro. Although euro banknotes and coins would not enter circulation until January 2002, the transition was already well underway by 2000. The French public was becoming accustomed to dual pricing, franc and euro values shown together, and anticipation for the new currency was high. Thus, the 2000 issue of the 20 centimes coin can be seen as both a continuation of tradition and a farewell edition, minted in large numbers but destined for a short remaining life in circulation. In terms of mintage and circulation, the 2000 issue was produced in high quantities, ensuring that it reached everyday circulation across France. It was a small coin by value, primarily used for change in shops, cafes, markets, and public transport, but its actual purchasing power by 2000 was relatively limited compared to earlier decades. The coin could buy a small item like a sweet, a baguette contribution, or be part of the exact change in daily transactions. However, with inflation and the approaching euro, its practical importance was declining. Many people kept these coins in jars, wallets, or drawers, and after 2002 they were often forgotten or retained as souvenirs of the franc era. From a numismatic perspective, the France 20 centimes 2000 coin is common in circulated condition. As millions were struck, however, it holds historical interest as part of the last years of French franc coinage. Collectors particularly value uncirculated examples and official mint sets from the Paris Mint, as these represent the end of an epoch in French monetary history. Its cultural and sentimental significance outweighs its market rarity. Owning a 2020 centimes coin is like holding a tangible piece of the transition from the old world of the franc to the new era of the euro. In conclusion, the France 20 centimes 2000 coin is more than just a small change piece. It is a powerful symbol of continuity, tradition, and change. With Marianne and the revolutionary motto, it carried forward the ideals that defined the French Republic for over 2 centuries, even as it prepared to give way to the supranational euro currency. Its agricultural motifs tied it to the land and the people, while its date marked it as one of the final guardians of the franc system. Today, it remains a cherished collectible, not for its rarity, but for its historical resonance, representing both the legacy of France's national coinage and the closing chapter of an era that lasted until the dawn of the 21st century. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.